What if your body had its own built-in sugar monitor, and you didn't need to prick your finger to read it? What if this incredibly sophisticated internal alarm system has been sending you direct messages, warning signs you might have been ignoring, or worse, blaming on stress or fatigue? Hi everyone! Today, we're going to do something fundamental. We're going to learn how to listen to our bodies. I'm going to share the 12 signs your body uses to tell you, sometimes in a whisper and sometimes with a shout, that your sugar levels are on a dangerous roller coaster ride. And no, this isn't to make you a hypochondriac. Recognizing these signs is the first and most powerful step to reclaiming your energy, stabilizing your mood, and protecting your long-term health. In short, it's your ticket to getting off that exhausting ride and taking the wheel of your well-being. Stay until the end because I'll not only reveal these symptoms with surprising clarity but also give you simple, practical tools to start flattening that glucose curve today. Let's talk about this sugar roller coaster. It's a phrase we hear often, but what does it really mean for our bodies? Imagine your energy as a sports car. When you eat foods that quickly convert to sugar, white bread, sweets, sodas, it's like pressing the accelerator to the floor. Whoosh! You get an immediate glucose rush, a surge of energy, euphoria, you feel unstoppable. That's the dizzying climb of the roller coaster. But as you well know, what goes up fast must come down. Your pancreas, the guardian of sugar in your body, detects this massive peak and goes into a panic, releasing a key hormone, insulin. Insulin is like the key that opens your cells so glucose can enter and be used for energy. The problem is, faced with such an avalanche of sugar, the pancreas often overshoots, releasing too much insulin. This surge does its job too efficiently, sweeping sugar out of your blood at breakneck speed. The result? A nosedive, the terrifying descent of the roller coaster. Suddenly, that energy vanishes. You feel irritable, mentally foggy, anxious, and, above all, ravenously hungry. Guess what? More sugar. Your body wants to get back on the ride. When you live like this day after day, your cells start getting fed up with insulin constantly ringing their doorbell. It's like that annoying neighbor. At first, you open the door, but after a while, you just ignore them. In medical terms, this is called insulin resistance. Your cells become deaf to the message. The pancreas then has to shout louder, producing even more insulin to achieve the same effect. This vicious cycle not only leaves you exhausted and your mood in the dumps, but is also the prelude to very serious health problems. That's why these 12 signs are so important. They are your body's secret language, its first calls for help. Let's decode them together. Sign number 1. Constant cravings and unrelenting hunger. The first sign, and perhaps the most deceptive, is an endless cycle of hunger and cravings, especially for sweets or carbohydrates. And let's be clear, this isn't a lack of willpower, it's pure biochemistry. Does this sound familiar? You finish a full meal, feel satisfied, and an hour later, or even sooner, you feel an emptiness in your stomach or an intense urge for something sweet. This isn't real hunger. Your cells are literally crying for help. Here's what happens after that glucose peak. The plummeting drop leaves your blood sugar levels in the basement. Your brain, the body's largest glucose consumer, panics. It interprets this drop as an emergency, as if it's running out of fuel. Its quickest solution is to send you a powerful alarm signal in the form of a craving. And it's not asking for broccoli, it's asking for the fastest energy source it knows: sugar, bread, cookies. It's that almost violent need for dessert right after a meal, even if you're full. It's that mid-afternoon hunger attack that makes you raid the pantry. It's thinking about your next meal when you've just finished your current one. This hunger isn't born in your stomach, it's born from glucose instability. Your body is trapped. The sugar spike causes the drop, and the drop causes the craving for more sugar, which creates another spike. It's the engine of the roller coaster. If you constantly battle cravings that feel more like a command than a desire, pay close attention. Your body is screaming that your sugar is out of control. Sign number 2. Chronic fatigue and brutal energy crashes. The second sign is probably what wrecks our quality of life the most, a fatigue that doesn't disappear even after 12 hours of sleep. But it's not just any tiredness. It has a very clear pattern. You feel exhausted, with heavy eyelids and a foggy mind, especially an hour or two after eating. It's the famous food coma, but when it's systematic and severe, it's a giant red flag. This fatigue has a dual cause. On one hand, there's the crash. After that false energy boost from a sugar-rich meal, comes the collapse. Insulin cleared the blood so well that it left you with less sugar than needed. You feel weak, drained, as if unplugged. But here's the most ironic part. You also get tired during the peaks. One would think having lots of sugar in your blood would give you extra energy, right? It's quite the opposite. When blood sugar is chronically high, your blood becomes thicker, like syrup. This makes circulation difficult, and oxygen doesn't reach your cells properly. Furthermore, if you have insulin resistance, even if you're swimming in a sea of glucose, it can't enter your cells to be converted into energy. It's a cruel paradox. You have fuel everywhere, but your cells are starving. This constant effort generates inflammation and stress, two incredibly draining processes. So if your day is a series of energy peaks and valleys, if you rely on coffee to survive the afternoon, no, that's not normal. It's your energy metabolism screaming for help. Sign number 3, insatiable thirst and dry mouth. The third sign takes us to one of the body's most basic survival mechanisms. If you find yourself with an unquenchable thirst, drinking glass after glass of water and still feeling like your mouth is made of cardboard, your body is sending you an urgent message. This has a medical name, polydipsia, and it's a direct consequence of having too much sugar in your blood. Think of your bloodstream as a soup. If you add too much salt, or in this case, sugar, the soup becomes very concentrated. Your body, in its infinite wisdom, needs to dilute it. How does it do this? By drawing water from your tissues and pouring it into your blood. This process of dehydrating your tissues is what causes that intense, persistent thirst. Your brain is screaming, "I need water to dilute this syrup." This sign goes hand in hand with the next, creating a vicious cycle. You drink more because you're thirsty, but you urinate more because your body is trying to eliminate the sugar, which dehydrates you and makes you even thirstier. Don't underestimate constant thirst. If you feel like your mouth is the Sahara Desert, it's one of the most classic signs that your kidneys are working overtime to deal with dangerously high sugar levels. Sign number 4, frequent urination. Directly connected to the previous one is the fourth sign, the constant need to go to the bathroom, especially at night, ruining your sleep. This is called polyuria, and it's the other side of the thirst coin. If you've become the bathroom's best friend and your outings are planned around where one is nearby, this sign is for you. The mechanism is simple. When your blood glucose levels exceed a certain limit, your kidneys, which are the body's filters, become overwhelmed. Normally, they reabsorb all the glucose, but when there's too much, they can't keep up. The excess glucose spills into your urine, and here's the trick. Glucose attracts water like a magnet. As sugar leaves through your urine, it drags enormous amounts of water from your body with it. It's a desperate attempt to flush the excess sugar from your system. The result is that you produce much more urine than normal. People often think, "Oh, it's because I'm drinking more water." But in reality, it's the sugar driving the whole operation. If going to the bathroom has become your main pastime, it's a very clear sign that your sugar is consistently elevated. Sign number 5, skin problems. The fifth sign demonstrates that your skin is a tattletale about your internal health. If you struggle with skin problems that don't respond to any cream, the cause could be much deeper. The sugar roller coaster can manifest in surprising ways. One of the most common is adult acne. High sugar and insulin levels trigger hormones that increase oil production in the skin, clogging pores and causing inflammation. If you get those painful, deep blemishes that seem to appear after a weekend of indulgence, there's your connection. Another sign is skin discoloration. Have you noticed dark, velvety patches of skin, especially on your neck, armpits, or groin? That's called acanthosis nigricans, and it's an almost unmistakable sign of insulin resistance. High insulin levels cause skin cells to multiply at an abnormal rate. Furthermore, sugar ages your skin. There's a process called glycation, where sugar molecules attach to your collagen and elastin, the proteins that keep your skin firm. This process damages them, making them rigid and brittle, which translates into premature wrinkles, sagging, and dull skin. If your skin is speaking to you with acne, discoloration, or accelerated aging, listen to it. It's telling you what's happening inside. Sign number 6, blurred vision or vision changes. The sixth sign is alarming because it affects one of our most precious senses. If you've had episodes where your vision suddenly becomes blurry, as if you need to clean your glasses but you're not wearing any, It could be due to the fluctuations of sugar. This happens during both peaks and crashes. When your sugar is high, it can cause the lens of your eye to swell. The lens is your eye's natural lens that focuses light. When it swells due to excess fluid attempting to dilute the sugar, its shape changes, and it can no longer focus properly. The result is blurry vision. The good news is that in the early stages, this is usually temporary, and vision returns to normal when sugar stabilizes. But take it as a very serious warning. Persistently high sugar levels over time can cause permanent damage to the delicate blood vessels in the retina, a condition called diabetic retinopathy, one of the leading causes of blindness in adults. If you notice your vision changing throughout the day, worsening after eating and improving when fasting, your eyes are acting as a sensitive barometer of your sugar balance. Sign number 7. Mood swings, irritability, and anxiety. The 7th sign takes us directly into mental health. Do you feel like your mood is a roller coaster that matches your energy? Do you go from happiness to fury in a matter of hours, or suffer anxiety attacks or bad moods that come out of nowhere? It's very likely not your personality but the direct effect of sugar chaos on your brain's chemistry. Your brain needs a stable supply of glucose to function. When sugar spikes and crashes, your neurotransmitters go haywire. During a sugar drop, the body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These are the same fight-or-flight hormones. The result, you feel nervous, anxious, your heart racing, and a feeling that something bad is going to happen for no apparent reason. Irritability and bad moods appear at the lowest point of the curve. When your brain lacks fuel, its capacity to regulate emotions goes out the window. You become impatient, you get angry over trifles, you have a short fuse. It's the same reason people get hangry, hungry, and angry. If your mood is more unpredictable than the weather and your loved ones have to tread carefully around you, look at your plate. The key to your emotional stability could lie in your glucose stability. Sign number 8. Difficulty concentrating or brain fog. The 8th sign is the infamous brain fog. That feeling that your brain is working through a thick filter. You struggle to concentrate. You read the same page over and over. You forget why you walked into a room. No, you're not getting stupid. It's your brain asking for a stable energy supply. The brain is a glucose glutton. It consumes 20% of your total energy, but it needs it in a constant flow. When you have a sugar spike, the excess can cause inflammation in the brain, which slows down communication between neurons. Then comes the crash. When sugar drops too low, your brain goes into energy-saving mode. More complex functions, like thinking clearly or making decisions, are the first to shut down. You feel scattered, unfocused, and slow. If your mental sharpness ebbs and flows throughout the day, you're experiencing the effects of the sugar roller coaster on your brain. Regaining control of your glucose is literally the best thing you can do to clear that fog. Sign number 9. Slow healing wounds. The 9th sign can be more subtle, but it's a very serious indicator that something is wrong throughout your system. You get a cut, and it takes forever to heal. Small wounds get infected easily, or bruises linger for weeks. Your body's ability to repair itself is severely affected by high sugar levels. Excess glucose damages blood vessels and causes poor circulation. When you get a wound, your body needs to send immune cells and oxygen to fight infection and repair tissue. If circulation is poor, it's like the ambulance can't reach the accident. Furthermore, high sugar weakens white blood cells, the soldiers of your immune system. They become slow and less effective. This means a simple wound has a higher risk of infection. If you notice your body isn't repairing itself as it used to, don't ignore it. It's a sign that internal damage caused by sugar is affecting your fundamental ability to heal. Sign number 10. Recurrent infections. Very closely linked to the previous one, the 10th red flag is frequent infections. If you constantly battle colds, urinary tract infections, yeast infections like candida, or gum problems, it could be that your immune system is being sabotaged by sugar. They love sugar. It's their favorite food. A glucose-rich environment like sugary urine is an invitation for them to multiply. But you're not just feeding the enemy. As we said, high sugar paralyzes your defenders. The function of your white blood cells, your first line of defense, is severely impaired. It's like having a sleepy army trying to defend a fortress. This can manifest anywhere. If you feel like you live under constant attack from germs, ask yourself if you're not weakening your own defenses with an excess of sugar. Sign number 11. Pain or numbness in hands and feet. The 11th sign is one of the most serious and often indicates that the problem has been ongoing for some time. It involves strange sensations in your extremities, tingling, burning, prickling, or numbness in your hands and, more commonly, your feet. This is known as peripheral neuropathy. Your nerves are like your body's electrical wiring. They need a good blood supply to function. Chronically high sugar is toxic to nerves and damages the small blood vessels that feed them. With time, this double attack can damage nerve fibers, starting with the longest ones, which reach your feet. At first, it might be occasional tingling, then it can progress to burning, needle-like pricks, or an extreme sensitivity where even the touch of sheets hurts. In advanced stages, it can lead to a loss of sensitivity, which is very dangerous because you might not feel a wound and it could become severely infected. If you experience these unusual sensations in a glove and stocking pattern, as it's described, it's an urgent wake-up call from your nervous system. Sign number 12. Digestive problems. And the last sign brings us back to the very beginning, the digestive system. If you suffer from constant bloating, gas, diarrhea, or constipation, the culprit could be the sugar roller coaster. First, sugar disrupts the delicate balance of your gut flora. It feeds bad bacteria and yeasts that cause inflammation and gases. Additionally, high sugar levels can damage the nervous system that controls your digestion. This can cause your stomach to empty more slowly than normal, leading to nausea, reflux, and a feeling of fullness right away. The fluctuations can also cause diarrhea or constipation. If your digestion is chaotic, don't just take antacids. Your gut might be reacting to the disorder that sugar is creating in its interior. Okay, after decoding these 12 signs, you might feel a little overwhelmed. Perhaps you've checked off several boxes in your mind. But the million-dollar question is, now what? The goal here isn't to scare you, quite the opposite, it's to empower you. Recognizing the problem is the first step to solving it. You don't have to resign yourself to living on this roller coaster. The good news is that you don't need drastic measures. There are simple strategies you can start using today to stabilize your glucose. Let's look at some of the most effective ones. Here are 3 super powerful and easy strategies that can make a brutal difference. Solution number 1. The magic order of food. This is so simple it seems unbelievable, but it works. Instead of obsessing over what you eat, focus on the order in which you eat it. The golden rule is fiber first, then protein and fat, and carbohydrates and sugars last. Imagine a plate with salad, chicken, and rice. Start by eating all the salad. The fiber will create a kind of mesh in your intestine. Then follow with the chicken and avocado. Finally, the rice. When the glucose from the rice arrives, it will encounter that mesh and be absorbed much more slowly. This flattens the glucose curve, preventing the peak and the crash. It's the same meal with a totally different impact. Solution number 2. The power of a 10-minute walk. Exercise is a beast at managing sugar, but you don't need to run a marathon. One of the most effective things you can do is take a light 10 to 15-minute walk right after your heaviest meal. Why does it work? Your muscles love glucose. When you walk, your muscles absorb it directly from your blood to use as energy without needing insulin. They act like a sponge for excess sugar. A walk around the block is enough. Make this a habit, and you'll see how that afternoon slump disappears. Solution number 3. Sleep like your health depends on it, because it does. The connection between sleep and sugar is two-way. High sugar ruins your sleep, but a bad night's sleep ruins your sugar control. Lack of sleep increases cortisol, the stress hormone. The next morning, cortisol releases sugar into your blood and makes you more insulin resistant. In fact, one study showed that a single night of poor sleep can make your cells handle sugar as poorly as those of a person with type 2 diabetes. Prioritizing your sleep is non-negotiable. Create a relaxing routine, keep your room dark and cool, and stay away from screens before bed. Good rest resets your system. Today, we've covered a long journey, from identifying the secret signs of sugar to discovering practical tricks to take control. The most important message is this: your body speaks to you. It's not an enemy, it's an ally that gives you valuable information. Learning to listen to these whispers, the cravings, the fatigue, can prevent you from having to listen to the screams later. Now, it's crucial to be clear. This video is for informational purposes only. It is not a medical diagnosis. If you persistently recognize several of these signs in your life, the most important and responsible step is to speak with a healthcare professional. A medical professional can give you a real diagnosis and create a plan for you. And now, I'd love to know from you. The community we create here is one of our best tools. Tell me in the comments which of these 12 signs resonated with you the most. Is there one you've been feeling without realizing it might be linked to sugar? Sharing your experience can make someone else feel less alone. Finally, if this video brought you some value, if it gave you a new perspective to improve your life, the best way to support the channel is by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. That way, you won't miss upcoming videos where we'll continue exploring simple ways to take charge of your health. Thanks for being here today, and remember, you have the power to get off the roller coaster.